That's absolutely fine.
Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Durrani, and I'm your host. All right, Dr. Christy's here, and I am so excited. And Christy, you know what? I've been having good night sleeps. I had trouble sleeping last night, and and I couldn't pinpoint why until I woke up and I looked at my calendar and it said 10 a.m. Dr. Christy. I was probably so excited.
That
And
totally must have been it.
I had to be. The anticipation kept me up at night. I was so now we're here. And
It was a full moon, Drew.
all right,
So
we've just got our answers. Thank you. See, this is why I like talking to you. I learned so much. So Christy, we haven't known each other for a long time, and actually, I think it was Frank Agan who introduced us, and I got to thank him again. But we connected right away, and it's been great every time I speak with you. And so I figured you have such an awesome message. I need to share it with more than just myself. So that's why I wanted you on today.
well,
So,
thank you for having me, Drew. I always enjoy our chats as well. So I hope I can provide some value to whoever's listening.
oh, you certainly will. So I really would like to start. I'm big into defining moments and challenges and how people get through them. And so I'd like you to just start whatever part of your life you want to start with that really helps people get to the essence of you and the challenges you've overcome that have helped you become who you are today.
Yeah, to me, Drew, that question, I mean, we're all overcoming something, right? All
Right.
the time.
Right.
It's ever changing. And I would say I actually have two kind of defining moments. One of them is more business related.
Hmm.
The other one is more personal. And so I can actually hit on both of them.
Sure.
In 2019 was when I feel like I hit my financial and business entrepreneurial rock bottom, so to
Okay.
speak.
Hmm.
So almost exactly 4 years ago. Um, I had plenty of self-limiting belief systems in my head that I could not be a successful businesswoman, run a practice, and be a successful mom at the same time. We were just talking about this before we jumped on, right?
Yeah,
Just this
totally.
idea that there's this work-life balance idea and it's all an illusion.
Hmm.
But I very strongly had it in my head that I couldn't do both. And in 2019, it really all came to a head where every single account that we had was down to zero.
Oh,
My
wow.
business checking account, our personal savings, our personal checking, zero. And my phone bill was due. And I had to swallow my pride and ego and call a friend and say, hey, this is the situation I'm at. Can I please borrow some money just to pay our phone bill? Because I had three kids. I can't risk not having, a phone that's functional and for a couple days.
Right.
So that was really, it was embarrassing. It was,
Hmm.
and I remember feeling in that moment, just, I never want to do this again. I'm so over this. I'm really, I'm so tired of not feeling like I can cope with life from a financial aspect of things. And in that moment, I think something finally shifted in me. And really being very honest, that this is not the first time. 2019 was not the first time that that had happened,
Okay.
but it was the first time that I had the moment of, Drew, am I allowed to swear on here? I forgot
You
to
may
ask you before we
swear as
jumped on.
much as you like.
Great. I really had that moment at that time where I said, really, fuck this. I'm done. I,
Hmm.
I can't do it anymore. So in after that, I started changing some things. I started changing who I was. I went to different seminars. I met with various colleagues, and instead of pretending like I had it all together,
Right.
I was really vulnerable and real with these people and said, look, I don't have it all together. I've been in practice for 10 years and I feel like it's my first year of practice. Help me do what I'm not doing.
Wow.
And I got the help and support that I needed. And from that moment till now, my business has over tripled in income and patients. And I don't say that to brag.
Right.
I say it just because I feel like I was always a good physician. I was always a good person. I was
Of
always
course.
providing good quality
Absolutely.
care to people.
Hmm.
I just was holding myself back in the process. And so I'm just incredibly grateful looking back from that moment to now, how I was able to turn it around. And I was able to put the right support systems and resources in place to provide me things that were stepping stones to get where I am now. Because I definitely couldn't have done it alone, but I also could not have done it by faking it, which is
Yeah.
what I had done up until that point.
Well, that's another cliche that again is a myth that fake it until you make it. That is the worst advice anybody can ever give anybody because it takes away your authenticity.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah, I used to live by that phrase, and I have now grown to hate it.
I
And I
have
changed
to
it to face it till you ace it.
face it till you ace it. You hear that, everybody? That is the new phrase. All right. Face it until you ace it. I love that, Christy.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
also had a personal challenge too, huh?
Yeah. The other kind of semi-defining moment, and honestly, I would actually say the 2019 business perspective of things also is what channeled me to write the book that I eventually wrote,
Right.
that was published in 2021.
Now, let me tell
Um,
the audience, we will get into what Dr. Christie does professionally. We will talk about the book. We're leading to it. There's a method to my madness. Okay.
we've got to create the suspense so that
Oh,
they
there's
listen
got to
till
be
the end,
suspense.
right?
Yep. Anticipation's the best. Go ahead.
So when I was trying to figure out if I was going to write this book or not, I actually, the reason I wrote it in the first place was because I wanted to start doing workshops and doing seminars to reach moms and parents
Hmm.
because of my personal struggles. I had recognized that this is, for my oldest son is now 12 and a half, but when he was born, doing what I did and being in healthcare and being holistic and doing all the things that I do and know how to do,
Right.
I didn't think that postpartum depression could happen to me,
Okay.
but it did, and it knocked me on my ass.
Oh, jeez.
And it wasn't nearly as bad as some people experience because I didn't even know that it was happening to
Of
me.
course. That's usually what happens, though, too. You don't realize it.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to the various appointments and they'd give you the little quiz and you'd
Hmm.
answer all the questions and I passed and it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember a defining moment there where I think my son was 20 months old, like 2022, like just before he turned 2 years old. And I was having some conversation with my husband and I sat there and went, huh, I think I'm depressed. And
Mm.
it just, and it was like, is this possibly still postpartum stuff? And then I looked back through the last 2 years and said, yeah, it sure is. Cause I've been
Mhm.
in this cloud and this daze
Yeah.
where I've literally taken myself out of the equation of my life. My needs don't matter. My desires don't matter.
Right.
Nothing about what I do right now exists except for raising my son.
Yeah. I
And
want to reach back to you mentioned about the quiz in the office.
mhm,
And to me, that if they didn't have a conversation with you and dive deeper into your responses, if they just gave you a quiz, that's a disservice to the mothers who just had a baby if they're really trying to find out if there's postpartum depression. I hope that's changed
yeah,
in these practices.
that's a really good point. And I can tell you it's changed when I work with, pregnant and then
Yeah,
postpartum women in my
absolutely.
office. I ask tons of questions. And the fact of the matter is I really believe most women experience something because there's so much hormonal
Oh
shifts.
yeah.
There's
Oh, you
so
have
much
to. And think about
spiritual and
the
energetic
mental
depletion.
strain. You're now a mother. You got a human life there that you just gave birth to
Yeah,
after 9 months, and now it's like, okay, they're on the outside world. Now I got to keep them safe, and
right.
I can't even imagine as a guy what it's like. You
Hmm.
know, she's
It's pretty crazy. I can tell you that much.
yeah,
And then you enter in all the cultural expectations of now what now has to happen because you're now this mother and you're now this, ruler of another human life that you have to keep alive and safe and support.
right.
I was in the position of, okay, I don't matter anymore.
Mm.
And I remember my husband asking me what I wanted for my birthday. And I was like, birthday? I don't have a birthday this year. Like it
Whoa.
went so deep that I
Okay.
literally just was like, I don't matter. Um, and I don't want anyone to ever have to experience or feel that way
So that's
because
that's a message to the men out there. If your new if your wife new mother says my birthday doesn't exist this year, she doesn't. She needs some help.
thank
you
you.
know, seriously. Yes, you do
Yeah.
matter. Yes, your
I,
birthday
I
is happening.
I probably didn't say those words,
I
but
know.
it was paraphrased. But
Yeah, I hear you.
nonetheless,
I
it
know.
was it was definitely rough. And I remember just going through all that and turning it around.
Mm,
I mean, and there were a lot of, other reasons I think it built up to that. My thyroid was off. I mean,
okay.
so functionally and health wise speaking, knowing what I know now, looking back 12 years ago, there's a lot of other things I could have done.
Mhm.
but I was in the practice of treating other people, not treating myself at the time.
Yes.
And that's really where the biggest lesson was for me.
So how'd you turn it around?
I got real with myself again.
Okay.
And a little bit of it was seeing a colleague and, just getting some is not true, was not treating myself anymore because, on one hand, yes, doctor, heal thyself. And I really believe in a lot of ways. There's so many things that are coming through my head right now.
Yeah.
I'm working on some other things right now that are going to be pushing out the message that we are all in control of our own healing journey.
Of course. Right.
We can't rely on any doctor, physician, naturopath, therapist, anyone to do the medication, nutrition, even like supplements and whatnot. Yeah. We can't rely on a bottle or another human being to do the healing we need to do ourselves.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean we can't get support along the way. Right. And so I definitely got a handful of support systems, but then I also went within and did a lot of the healing work myself to figure out what was really there over all those years. And then by the time I had my second son, it was a total game changer. And I go through all these stories in my book because, especially from a postpartum woman standpoint, like it's really important. I believe in one of my biggest chapters in there is all about self-care, just to be sure that you're putting yourself first, you're taking care of yourself, you're filling your own cup so that you can give to the family and the people in your life.
Right.
So that's a lot of my message, and that's what I've used my experience and then even professionally with other patients who've gone through similar things to write the book. And what I'd like to bring forward to people is you have to make sure that you are the most healed version of yourself to take care of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and that's always still happening.
No, it always we're a work in progress. So I'll give you a choice. You want to tell people about what you do for a living, or you want to talk about the book? Your choice.
Oh, well, will I do both eventually?
Yes, you're going to
It
be
just
talking
matters
about
of which
both
order.
anyway. Let's do the business one. Let's tell people what you do professionally to help people.
Sure. Thanks. So I am a holistic chiropractor. I practice in Wilmette, Illinois, which is a Chicago suburb. And when people hear chiropractor, they think, oh, you crack bones. There's much more to it than that.
Sure.
The holistic standpoint of things, I use a system called applied kinesiology, which indicates that I use muscle testing to determine what part of someone's body needs the most attention. And every muscle in the body actually correlates with different organ systems. And so while you might come in and say, I have a shoulder issue, it hurts when I do this. Okay, let's go in there. We'll test every single muscle. And I might find this muscle's off and this muscle's off, but these two are tight or okay. Well, then I can look beyond just the structure and see, okay, well, this is a lung related muscle and this is a stomach related muscle. What else is going on in your life? What else is going on in your nutrition? What else is going on with your family, your work? And take a big picture to see what's really at the root cause of your shoulder pain. Because more often than not, when I say there's chemical issues, structural issues, and emotional issues that impact people's lives and how things manifest in their bodies, it's really a matter of looking at that three-dimensional approach to determine what the situation is and how to help the person in front of me, because it's not a protocol. I don't have a cookie cutter approach to anything that comes into my office, whether it's a headache or a shoulder or a low back or diabetes or digestive issues. So I will frequently treat things that you would traditionally go to a medical doctor for, but we do it naturally without drugs, without medications or surgery. And that's my passion for sure.
I mean, I love that because we're all our bodies and minds are connected. And there are a lot of practitioners who treat one or the other, and I never really understood that, and so I love that holistic chiropractic. I guess I don't know what the term is, but it is mainstream now because it took so long for the battle between Eastern and Western medicine in this country for Eastern medicine to be accepted. I mean, Eastern medicine has been around a lot longer than Western medicine. So to me, the alternative medicine is the Western medicine.
Right. Agreed. It really has come full circle. And I cannot remember this quote, but you may have remember it. It's like thousands of years ago, it was eat this root, eat this herb. And then it changed into take this medication, do this. And then at the end of it, it's like, okay, well, now eat this root and this herb again. It's like, so
it goes
we
back,
come
full circle. Yeah. Before we get into the book, because I do want to talk about that, you presented at at my men's supporting men collaboration tribe, and there's something that's stuck in my head, if you don't mind mentioning, about
Hmm.
the seven top doctors. I absolutely loved, I mean, I loved your whole presentation. Can you just like the Cliff Notes version of the seven top doctors? Because I think that's something that's going to be very valuable for the audience.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So there are 7 doctors that I recommend everyone see on a regular basis, and they supersede any other real quote unquote doctors that people would see in an
Mhm.
office setting. The first one is sunlight. I have some coming in my window right now, and it feels
Natural
great.
sunlight, right?
Natural sunlight, real sunlight. And sometimes people get fearful of, oh, aren't you worried about skin cancer? I'm not telling you to go lay outside in Mexico for 12 hours without sunscreen. That would be really harmful to your skin.
Right.
But 15 minutes to even an hour, depending on where you're at and how what the level of your skin is really beneficial, not just for vitamin D
Hmm.
production, but for serotonin production and just an overall feeling of energy and mood shift. I
Right.
think most people can recognize you feel way different when it's sunny out. We
Right.
just do.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong here. People take these vitamin D supplements and tell the audience, if I'm correct, that natural sunlight, vitamin D from natural sunlight is much more healthier for you than the thing in the pill, right?
100%. I have several patients that their bodies are actually healthy enough. We live in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I have several patients that their bodies are healthy enough that they don't need to take vitamin D supplements, which I think is crazy amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in that category yet.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely still have to supplement. But if we can get all of our vitamin D from the sun,
Right.
that's much healthier. It's a much more natural form because while we can do all we can to get to me, supplements are supplemental to a good diet. And so if we can get most of what we need through the food that we eat or
Mhm.
from the sun that we get exposed to,
Right. Right.
we're going to be better off for it because no matter how hard we try, we can't get everything in the same way that we would normally get through nature through a pill.
Okay. Good point. So we got number one there, natural sunlight. Number two.
Number 2 is just fresh air. So literally just getting outside.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's 0 degrees or 100 degrees. My walks Monday through Friday in the morning through my forest preserve are not negotiable.
Okay.
It's been part of my self care routine for quite some time, and I've grown to just love it too much. It rarely gets skipped,
Okay.
and it's literally just to get outside and breathe fresh air.
Okay.
Very invigorating. I do a lot of grounding as well when the ground is not completely frozen. It is pretty muddy right now, so I skipped it this morning.
Right. Right.
But I will also just take a walk in my yard
Mhm.
barefoot, and just being outside in the
Yeah.
elements is
Okay.
critical.
And
So
I
that's
and
number
I
2.
that's great. And I heard that even 15 minutes of fresh air is beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is about these 7 doctors, Drew, is this is all common sense, right? I mean, we can sit here and know
Mm-hmm.
we feel better if we open our window and breathe the fresh air
Oh
versus
yeah.
just breathing our stagnant air. But we don't
Absolutely.
always think about it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to
We got to
remember.
make it a habit. Okay. So we got two there. Who's doctor number three?
Let's go with sleep.
Ah, that's
You
a
said you had a rough night's sleep last night because you were
yeah.
so excited about our talk today.
Yes.
Um, Sleep's important.
Yeah.
It's where we regenerate, uh, where our brain transitions and integrates everything from our previous day or
Mm-hmm.
previous week, stores long-term memory. Sleep is a very active process,
Okay.
but we require it in order to be functional the next day, in order to have opportunities for weight loss if you're trying to do that sort of thing. Like if you don't have good quality sleep, it's going to impact almost every area of your life.
Okay. Yeah, and you
So,
talked about the quality over quantity. People can
mhm,
sleep if they sleep 20 hours, doesn't necessarily mean that was quality sleep, right?
right. I believe it's important to dream. We talked about that before as
Definitely.
well.
Hmm.
Um, and that doesn't necessarily mean remembering your dreams because
Right.
I feel like remembering your dreams is just a function of when you wake up at what
Hmm.
point in your sleep cycle.
Right.
Um, but I can know at least within myself if I've been dreaming or not, whether or not I remember the dreams.
Because you wake up refreshed, you feel like you got a good night's sleep, right? That means you could have dreamt or something. Is that why?
It's definitely a little bit of that, but and
Mhm.
this is a very hard thing to describe.
Yeah.
But for me at least, I know that I've dreamt. It's like I
Okay.
can feel in my brain that it was working and doing stuff through the night.
Okay. All right.
I can't explain it any better than that, unfortunately. I'll try sometime.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
but what you say is really impactful, and I want the audience to realize that the brain is highly active when we're sleeping, as
mhm.
are a lot of our other internal organs. I remember even like the liver is, because I know that I take cholesterol medicine. I'm told to take it at night because the cholesterol meds I take are metabolized by the liver, and the liver is most active when I'm sleeping. I'm like, that's interesting. That's what
Mm,
the doctor told me that. I'm like, wow, okay. I like to know the why behind this kind of stuff.
that's fascinating. I know we're going to take a quick tangent here, but that's
Yeah.
really fascinating to me because if your Western doctor told you that in Chinese medicine
Yeah.
world, there's the meridians in the organ system cycle through their highest energy in a 24-hour clock fashion,
Okay.
and liver time is 1 to 3 a.m.
So yeah, it was actually a
So,
DO who told me that,
okay,
which
so
is which
that's,
I'm not surprised because MDs and
yeah,
DOs have different training, and DOs are more holistic about the whole body. So I'm not surprised it was my
yeah.
doctor about is that osteopathy? Is that what that
Yeah,
was? Yeah.
that's great that they're telling you that.
Yeah.
And on a side note, I'd love for you not to have to take the cholesterol medication.
Yeah, you know what? I would too, and I'm working on that. So maybe you can help me that. It's
Yeah,
my
we can chat
diet
later.
and exercise, which I'll need help on. All right, so we got the top three. Who's the fourth top doctor?
Fourth top doctor, I would say, is exercise.
Okay.
Now, once again, just like sleep, it would be quality and quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm once again, we're not talking protocol, cookie cutter approach.
Right.
Every person is different. So, if I'm talking to somebody who just had a baby 6 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a very different exercise regimen than if I'm talking to you. And and if I'm talking to somebody who's literally just coming off a completely sedentary lifestyle, or if
Mm-hmm.
they've been active and injury free and super healthy for the last 20 years,
Right.
very different.
Okay.
Some people can handle that HIIT training, other people really just need simple walks. It really just depends. One thing I can offer is I use a formula for your heart rate
Mm-hmm.
from Dr. Phil Maffetone,
Okay.
a colleague of mine. He says take 180 and subtract your age.
Oh.
That should be the top level of the heart rate when you're exercising, aerobically speaking. That keeps you in the stress-free zone, so to speak. It
Right.
gives your heart the best cardiovascular function,
Okay.
helps you burn fat instead of sugar, and it allows exercise to be a stress reducer, not a stress creator.
Okay.
Now, there's some wiggle room within that, once again, depending on who you are and what injuries you may have had in your history, but
Right.
that's a good approximation. So if you're 40, your range, so to speak, should be between like 130 and 140 beats per minute.
Okay. All right. And then there are devices that tell us what our heart rate
Mm-hmm.
is, right? That's okay. Good.
Yeah,
Good. Good.
those little Fitbit things
Yeah,
that I
you
don't
can tell
recommend
I'm a
wearing all the
novice in this.
time,
That's why
but
I gotta hang out with you more often. Okay. All right. So we got that's the four. We need three more top doctors. Who's number five?
number five would be water.
Ooh, water.
So quality and quantity of water.
Okay.
Quantity, I recommend about half your body weight in ounces per day. So
Wait,
if
half your body weight in
mhm.
ounces per day. Got it. Okay. Okay.
So let's say you weigh 160 pounds, that's 80 ounces a day. Now, here's the
Okay.
catch. If you drink caffeine or alcohol, those things are diuretics and they deplete your body of water. So I recommend adding those ounces back in.
Thank you
So if
for
you're 100,
clarifying that. I told my
yeah.
21-year-old son Matthew that. He goes, "But Dad, there's coffee and there's water in there." So I don't understand that. The diuretic piece. Okay, so that's the important piece I got to tell
hmm
him. Okay. All right.
Now, there's a lot of people and a lot of sources that say that's not necessary to do. This is just
Right.
my opinion. And
That's okay.
so
Yeah. I like that.
that's what I tend to recommend. And the reason I kind of go above and beyond on this because it is important. There's an entire book. I cannot remember the author right now, but it's called Your Body's Many Cries for Water.
Okay.
More often than not, I find people dehydrated in my office. It's very, very occasional. I'd say 1 or 2% of people are actually drinking enough water or too much
Okay.
water.
All right. All right.
So quality
So
water and quantity of water
that's
is
good. So we got
important.
five there. Six. Who's six?
Diet.
Diet. Okay.
So
Tell me about
good
diet.
old diet. And I don't recommend going on a quote unquote diet. When we talk about diet, I'm just saying
Mhm.
what you're eating. It's really just about my biggest promotion on that is eat real food. Don't eat stuff that comes out of a package. Eat
Okay.
things that you could reasonably find or pick in nature. because
Okay.
that's what we were designed to consume. I would say, if you've ever taken your kids to the zoo and it says "Do not feed the animals," and you're eating a Cheeto or a Dorito, and
Oh,
you throw,
that's yeah, makes
would you
sense.
throw a
That's why.
Cheeto or a Dorito to a monkey or a lion?
Yeah,
No, you'd get in trouble by the zoo staff, and it's not what they would normally eat.
right.
But we're animals too. Our
Yeah.
bodies aren't designed to eat that garbage either.
So we shouldn't be doing it. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great public service announcement, everybody. Sorry about you Cheeto lovers, but okay. So that's helpful. So number seven,
Number seven, and I believe it's the most important, is joy.
joy. I love that. Okay. Yeah,
Joy.
I agree. That's huge. We usually neglect our mental health. So tell me about joy.
Joy, I believe, is, while I will never say diet's not important and water is not important, exercise and all the other ones we've mentioned are not important, I
Mhm.
do believe this one's the most important. I reference this study a lot. There was a study done, I believe it was Ohio State University in the 60s, and they say they were doing this study to show and illustrate that cholesterol and heart disease is impacted by the food that these bunnies were going to consume. So they
Okay.
took two groups of bunnies and they said this group's going to have a great diet, this one's going to have a poor diet, and now we're going to show the poor diet one had heart disease. But that didn't completely happen.
Hmm.
Some of the bunnies ended up not developing heart disease, and when they looked into that subset group that did not, that was the group that was taken out and pet and played with every day,
Oh my
because the
goodness.
researchers, they were more accessible.
Right.
And so they had love and affection and joy in their lives. And so that it was enough to offset what they were consuming.
I love that. And thinking deeper in that, when people are getting love and affection, I'm sure that improves their self-worth, what they how they feel about themselves because they feel loved. And when you feel loved and you feel respected, then you tend to love and respect yourself. And if you do so, then you're going to treat your body and mind a little better by nourishing it with healthy things. Because I've known people who
Exactly.
when they find out what they consume, whether it's mentally or physically, if they don't feel good about themselves, they don't feel like they deserve good stuff, so that they neglect themselves. That's really deep. I love that. Thank you for that one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mental, emotional health and physical health is absolutely a two-way street. It goes both ways.
it absolutely does. All right, so I'm definitely gonna I'll list those seven in the order you gave them on the show notes, if that's okay with you.
Perfect. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, audience, time to talk about the book. Tell us about your book.
Book is called Coordinating the Chaos Through Birth and Burnout. So this first one, if anybody has kids out there, you recognize that the chaos doesn't end, after birth. So there's going to be a series. I'm actually working on book 2 right now. But Through Birth and Burnout is the first one. It's really dedicated more towards the postpartum mother, or
Mhm.
even the postpartum father, to really help support that first year or so of life
Okay.
after you have a child.
All
And it helps the woman through some of those hormonal challenges, like we talked about earlier. And then it also just helps really provide some tips and tricks to keep the baby healthy in that first year or so.
okay.
There's a lot of challenges that frequently come up, whether it's colic or rashes, what have you. And I go in there and really give people who are reading what I would do if it were my kids, and what I've given to patients in my office.
Mhm.
All my kids, my boys, are 12, 9, and almost 7.
Okay.
And not one of them has ever taken an over-the-counter medication
Mhm.
or an antibiotic for anything.
Wow.
Now, that's not
Okay.
to say they haven't been sick.
Okay.
Stuff happens, life
Yeah.
happens, but I have other tools that I've used to help them get over these things, and they're really healthy for it.
Well, that is. I wish. Well, you can't fix the past, but my gosh, where were you when our kids were young? So, a question for you: as a father, and as when my wife had our first kid, we both believed now she had postpartum depression and didn't realize it. For that first time father, what are some things that the father should be looking out for his wife so he could bring it to her attention? So Christy, so as a father, I wish I knew some of the things to look out for to help my wife. What if you're talking to some first time fathers or even seasoned fathers, what should the father be looking for to maybe help his wife? Because you don't know what you don't know. And even if the husband's going to risk the wife snapping at him and saying, "Leave me alone," men should be helping their wives if they catch something. What are some things we should be looking for?
Yeah, that's a really hard question to answer, honestly. It's not to me, at least, it's not about what they're looking for. It's just
Okay.
about what they provide.
Okay.
Um, and this, I mean, the first thing that actually comes to my mind here is knowing your spouse
Mm-hmm.
enough and what she's normally like and what she would ordinarily need
Okay.
from you as her partner. One of the biggest things that I believe saved my marriage is The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I don't know
I
if you've
love
heard of
that
his
book.
book.
Yeah, my wife and I read that. Yep.
It really helped us a lot.
Mhm.
Now, granted, this was only like 3 years ago or so that I read that and was able to get all that I could out of it.
You applied the stuff for it. I'm divorced now, so we read it and didn't apply, which we should
We
have.
definitely applied it.
Good for you.
And if I had known all about it back when I was newly postpartum, I
Yeah,
think it would have helped us more.
sure,
Um,
absolutely.
but our love languages are complete opposites.
Hmm.
Like what his number one and two are my last number
Gotcha.
one and two,
Yep.
and my number one and two are his last number one and two. So it's if message sent is not being message received,
Yeah.
your wife's going to feel unsupported. And so
Okay.
if what she needs the most, and I'll actually say this as well, in those early days postpartum and even into toddlerhood, moms are touched out, especially if she's breastfeeding.
Yeah.
If your number one love language is physical touch,
Hmm.
she's likely not going to be able to provide that to the level that you were either used to or want.
Mm. Okay.
So, make it a conversation though,
Okay.
and don't just sit back and say, well, I'm not going to get any of my needs met. It's about saying, okay, you know what, physical touch, not just sexually, but intimate wise, is important,
Hmm.
that everyone gets their needs met. But we have to make sure that we're communicating through the process, because if we just assume, well, I'm not going to get my needs met and this, we start getting resentful at each other, and
Hmm.
she could be suffering through whatever she's going through. Really just making sure that everyone is communicating where they're at, I
I,
think,
I
is one
love
of the most important
I
things.
love that. I love that. I'm actually taking a mindset mastery certification, and we talk about the rational ego state versus the emotional ego state. And what you said is very important, because if the man withdraws and gets a little pouty because he's not getting his physical needs met, if that's his number one love language, he's in an emotional ego state, and he needs to be in a rational ego state when that happens, so he can be understanding and empathic. So I really think that was very important. Well, we could talk about your book forever, which I do want people to know how to get it. But I want to, first thing I want to do is ask you those two final questions that I always ask, and then we'll launch into how people can get in touch with you. So you're sitting down with 7 to 10-year-old Christy, and you want to give her some advice about life. What are you going to tell her?
Don't let anyone else tell you what you're worth,
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that.
and just be you.
I love that. Authenticity. Okay, put a different hat on, and you are now sitting with young Christy, the businesswoman, soon to be entrepreneur. What business advice are you going to give young Christy?
Hmm. Ironically, that advice is very similar.
Uh huh. Okay.
It's be you, don't try to be anybody else.
Hmm. Love it.
um yeah, it doesn't have to look like anyone else's journey. It's going to be your journey, and don't doubt yourself in the process.
Love it. Absolutely. I love it. Two great pieces of advice. All right. So now that the audience knows the essence of Christy Matusiak, let's give them ways that they could uh, get more of you.
Yeah, so my website is just my first and last name, dc.com. So Christy Matusiak, dc.com, which will be in your notes, I'm sure.
Hmm.
They can get the book off Amazon, Coordinating the Chaos Through Birth and Burnout. I'm everywhere social media wise. So I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. One of the things that I was talking about earlier is I'm going to be doing a music video.
A
I
music
actually
video. Okay.
I have one already from 3 years ago that I
Wow.
made a parody of. If you're familiar with the song "I'll Be There for You"
Yes.
by Rembrandt's The Friends theme,
Yeah.
I made a chiropractic parody of that. So I have a
Okay.
YouTube channel as well. I have not done a lot of videos on there recently,
Yeah.
but there's close to 100 videos on there of
Oh my
content right
gosh.
now. If anybody wants to go see that, that's called Dr. Christy Cares. But that music video is on there, and I'm working on another one
Wow.
that is going to be another parody, which I'm going to leave for suspense. And so when
Okay.
that's out, I'll let you know about it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, Christy, thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're in my life and very grateful that we are connected. And just keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing is so valuable, and we'll spread the word so more people can get in touch with you.
Sounds good. Thank you, June. I'm just as grateful to be in your world. So thank you for all you're doing.
Oh, it's my pleasure. All right, everybody. Take care, Christy, and take care, everybody. Be well. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.